Hi everybody, I hope you're well and dandy out there in Beatles land, YouTubers and people of the interweb and the VC. Apologies, this is the video I should have made last week, but today it is the 17th of November, Friday the 17th of November. Yesterday my remixed versions of the Red and Blue albums came. That's not them, by the way, because I'd done a long shift at work. Actually, I haven't had time to unopen them, so I know you're probably all fed up of seeing unboxing videos of the new Red and Blue albums, the remixed extended versions, but I thought I'd do my take on it. This is just going to be an unboxing video. I'm not going to review the albums or anything. I will review the packaging and what I think of the packaging and things like that, so I hope you don't mind. A bit of a story. I ordered these on the 19th of October. The day after I'd ordered the Now and Then single. Now and Then single came great. I thought these would have come last Friday. They still hadn't come by last Sunday. I did email the Beatles store, or the Beatles.com, and I did get a really nice reply, and they said, oh, you know, we're very sorry because of the high demand, you know, there has been a mix up on some of the orders. Yours is there, it just hasn't been shipped out. So I thought, okay, here we go, is this an excuse? But lo and behold, they did come yesterday. I did have confirmation after they'd come that it was coming, if that makes sense. So like I say, I haven't had time to listen to them, I haven't even opened them. So if you're ready and you want to make a cup of tea or something, or a cup of coffee, I will do my unboxing. I am really looking forward to this. I wasn't too minded whether to buy these or not, because in all honesty I've got a hell of a lot of copies of the Red and the Blue album, and the two you see behind me there, God, this is dead weird, the red one and the blue one up there are the 2014 remastered versions, and they sound absolutely fantastic. I have seen a couple of videos on people doing their unboxings, but I'm going to try and do mine as different as I can. There are going to be similarities, obviously, because we are talking about the same thing. So if you're sitting back and you're ready, this is my unboxing of the 2023 remixed, remastered, extended Red and Blue vinyl box set. Right, I'm just going to put my glasses on. Just bear with 1 sec. Well, I need my glasses. So this is how it's come. I can't show you the other side because that's got my name and address on it. So, okay. This is the boring bit, by the way, probably. So that's that. That is my invoice. Made in Germany, says on here. See that? One stuck. Don't know what that means. Well, the packaging seems to be very good. Not quite sure how you get into it. Get me trusted knife. This horrible thing, isn't it, when you're doing unboxing videos, you sometimes have to use a knife. Oh, hang on, if I pull that there, that's that bit off. So this should just all open out, surely. Anything else in there? So that's the sturdy box which it came in, which if you've got these already and you bought them from the Beatles.com, I should imagine is exactly the same. So this is it. It says the Beatles 1962 to 1966 stroke 1967 to 70, the classic compilations, now extended with extra tracks including the new single Now and Then, 6 LPs featuring 75 songs. So you know, there is a lot of material on this, isn't there? Half speed mastered on 180 gram vinyl. This is a coloured vinyl, by the way, and the colour is black. Looks like it's a very sturdy box. You get all the track listing on the back. Look, I'm going to try and open this to keep the shrink wrap on it. Just say made in Germany again there. There is one criticism that I have seen, and I'm trying to do this with an open mind, that the extra tracks come on a separate album, and a lot of people have said, well, if you get the CDs, it's all basically chronological order. But thinking about it, haven't the Beatles just done what they usually do when they do a box set? The extra stuff is on different albums, isn't it? So I think in that way, it's good. But like I say, I haven't listened to these yet. Well, I say I haven't listened to them. I've streamed them. I've been streaming the songs off Spotify and things like that. And yes, I know you don't get the same sort of effect with Spotify or on your phone or streaming devices. But I am really, really looking forward to listening to these. I really am looking forward to listening to them. Like I say, at one point I didn't even know if I was going to buy these or not. Quite difficult to get in. So this is the Red album, 1962 to 1966. Another criticism that I've seen on some of the videos is they should have just called it the Beatles Red album and the Beatles Blue albums. I sort of tend to agree with that in one way, which I'll go into later. So there is the classic shot that's been on this album since 1973, and then on the back you get a slightly later photo in a similar pose. 1963 and 1969 that one was taken. They are very, very dull or matte. I thought these would be glossy like those up there. They've tried to keep it as faithful as they can to the original sleeve by the looks of it, where that apple looks slightly darker, doesn't it? Fantastic shot though, isn't it? Hey, could you imagine if they'd done one like that and then one like that in like the Sergeant Pepper gear and then one like that? Wouldn't that have been amazing? So like I say, so the first two albums are basically what those albums are up there, but these are remixed versions, and the third disc is the extras. Is that the way it should be or not? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It depends what you really want, don't you? I've always loved these albums. When I heard that they was re-releasing these as remixed, I didn't really want to know, because when I got into the Beatles in 1981, these were the first actual Beatles proper compilation albums I got, barring the Rock and Roll Music Volumes 1 and 2. You know, these were the proper first ones that I actually went out and bought brand new on Apple at the time. So let's see what goodies we get. Oh, right. So you get this little insert, the Beatles 1962 to 1966, with a few photos and some information that I haven't had time to read yet, because you've just seen me unopen these. Another, on somebody else's video, I did notice that they was criticising this because 1962 to 1966, and then on there it says something about 1967. Does that really matter? I don't think it does it? So there's that. So I've got to read that in a bit. Let's make a bit of room. All these records, I'm running out of room in my music room. So that's, I don't think, these weren't in the originals, but I think there's some sort of pamphlet in the remastered ones up there, weren't they? I'm sure there was. So when you open it up, you do get the original photo from the original 1973 versions. Although, having said that, that actually looks like it's got a red tint on it. Which I think it has. I'm sure that has. St Pancras Old Church, London, 28th of July 1968. Well, it never used to say that on it, did it? The only thing with this is you don't get any producer's credits like you did on some of the original ones. Do you get the lyric sheets? Let's have a look. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to put my glasses on, so just bear with 1 second. The dreaded Grandad glasses. yeah, so on this you do get all the words to the songs like you did on the original ones. Well, then Germany, I think when this was released in Germany, the original ones from 1973, I don't think you got the lyric sheets, did you? Or was that the coloured vinyls where you didn't get the lyric sheets? I can't remember. So let's have a look at the vinyl then, shall we? Coloured vinyl. Beatles Red, this is coloured vinyl. And the colour is black. Which I've got no problems with having this on black. I've got, you know, coloured versions of this. I was tempted to get it, to be honest, but I hesitated, and then when I went to buy it, it sold out. Which would have been nice, but it's the music, isn't it, that we're interested in. Not really what colour it is, although the colours do make it look nice. This looks a bit weird to me, this. Because I think on the original it said the Beatles 1962 to 1966 then. It wasn't up there like that, was it? It was more like it is on that side. Very, very nice heavyweight record. Looks mint, but it should do, shouldn't it? Because it's just been unpacked. It does seem weird looking at this, because I'm so used to looking at the original ones. On here, where it says what the side is, that it doesn't say an Apple record and an EMI recording. That really does look weird to me. Stereo, because obviously a lot of the tracks on this, when it came out in 1973, although it said stereo, they weren't really stereo, they were mock stereo, weren't they? So yeah, that's... Do you want to see every one of the discs? Might as well, haven't we? So you get that little insert and the first disc in that one there, and then you get the other two in this one. But I do think they've made it slightly bigger. I do think they've actually made it slightly bigger. So side 3, you've got Help all the way through to Norwegian Wood, as in the original one. And then you got on side 4, it goes from Nowhere Man to Yellow Submarine. One of the things I do like about this is, which I'll tell you in a sec, so that's side 3. And there's side 4 even. Side 4. The only mild criticism I ever had about this album, you know, the original versions of this, was Revolver seemed to get overlooked, where you got lots of songs from Rubber Soul and things like that, but technically you got Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby, didn't you, off Revolver. So I think in that way, putting this extra disc on, Revolver does get more of a like overview. Bearing in mind, Revolver is one of the best Beatles albums ever, into completely different to anything that they've ever done before. So side 6, this is the extra tracks you get. If I Needed Somebody, fantastic George Harrison song, which was originally on Rubber Soul in the UK. Then you've got to Get You Into My Life, sort of like Paul doing a sort of like Motown sort of song, isn't it? Great track. Whether I'd have put that on here, I don't know. But having said that, it probably is one of the highlights of Revolver. Then you've got I'm Only Sleeping, John Lennon song. Again, brilliant song. Should it really be on here? I would say yeah on that one. Taxman, George Harrison again. Fantastic song. I always think that possibly could have been a Beatles single or Beatles B-side. It was strong enough. Then you've got Here, There, Everywhere. Again, fantastic. Brilliant song. Yeah, I think that just deserved to be on here. And then it ends with Tomorrow Never Knows. I've done this wrong, haven't I? Because I should have done side 5 first. Hey ho. Doesn't matter, does it? Yes, I think every one of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think every one of those 6 songs just deserve to be on here. So going back to side 5, this is where it gets a little bit weird. The original Red album was only Lennon and McCartney songs. No cover versions. there wasn't even any George Harrison songs on it, was there? So side 5. So you might have to go to this bit first, then go to side 6. So side 5 is I Saw Her Standing There. Brilliant song, a highlight of the Please Please Me LP. Twist and Shout. Should that be on here? Well, if it's the Beatles' greatest hits, then yeah, it should be, because didn't that get to #1 in America, Twist and Shout, at one point? It was never actually officially released as a single in the UK, but it was released on an EP. Again, the Beatles doing a cover version, and in this time I would say the cover version is better than the original. The famous thing is John could only do 2 takes of it, because it was the last song they did in the sessions for Please Please Me LP, and by the time they got to it, his voice was just about gone, wasn't it? Then you've got This Boy. This Boy was a B-side in the UK. Fantastic song. Very, very overlooked. Roll Over Beethoven. Does that deserve to be on here? I'm not sure on that one. Yes, it's a good song. It's classic early Beatles in one way. It is a good cover version. Would you say it's a greatest hits though? I don't know. But then again, you see, I'm thinking of this from the UK point of view. I think that was released as a single in certain other countries, wasn't it? I think it was released as a single in America, Canada, and maybe Australia, I think, and possibly even Germany. You've Really Got a Hold on Me. Again, another cover version. A highlight of with the Beatles LP to me. The Beatles actually quite liked that song, didn't they? Because they recorded it with the Beatles. They did it on numerous BBC radio programmes, and I think they did do it live a couple of times, and then they even tried to do a version of it during the Get Back sessions, didn't they? So they must have had some sort of connection to that song, or they loved the song. Smokey Robinson, wasn't it, who wrote it? Again, early Tamla Motown, isn't it? I always think that's a brilliant song. And then side 5 finishes off with You Can't Do That. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah? So there is some sort of like strange combinations in that, but I'd say they work. I would say they work. So that is the Red album. On there, and that on there. Excuse me if I just put my head down. No disrespect intended or meant. The Blue album. So basically everything, or virtually everything on the Red album, is a brand new remix. This one, the Beatles 1967 to 70. Now, can they call that anymore, seeing as Now and Then is on it, which isn't from the 70s, isn't, it's from the late 70s, I suppose, but wasn't from 1970, was it? Splitting hairs. We're not here to do that, are we? Again, a very, very dull matte finish. Not criticism. You do get the copyright on here, and again, the Apple label does look slightly darker. Most of the things on here on the first 2 discs, we have already got remixes of. If you've got the box sets, the Super Deluxe extended box sets of Revolver, Sergeant Pepper, the White Album, Abbey Road and Let It Be. Not all, but a lot of them are on here. There is some on the White Album from 2015 for the DVD of the One Plus, I think, if I got that right. Again, a gatefold with the same cover, and this has got a blue tint. So yeah, they've got a red tint for the red and a blue tint for the blue. Construction wise, these covers do actually seem to be, very, very high quality. Again, no production credits. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you get 9 additional songs on the Blue album. As I've said before, I've always loved these albums. This was, in one way, the cheapest way when I started to get into the Beatles to get a good Beatles collection instantly, was to buy these 2 albums. Maybe it's even better now because they put some extra things on that weren't on the original. So, Again, you get a little pamphlet with it, or leaflet. I think it would have been nice to have a little book with this. In all honesty, I think for what we've paid for these, I think it would have been nice to have some sort of little booklet, or like these as a fold out or something like that. Not necessarily a hardback book, you know, just a little magazine or something. Again, some nice photos on that. That's at the time when they're supposed to not been getting on very well, but they all look quite happy on that, don't they? And that's obviously one of the last photos they've ever took. That one there. I won't bother getting all of these three ones out because you just see in the same old, aren't you? Again, as of the original, one thing I've noticed is on the originals of these, I think the lyrics was in black, and now they're in white on here, which is okay. Although this is like light blue on blue, isn't it? On that, just a little observation. I do like the apple on this though. I must admit, I do like the apple label. On some of the releases we've had just lately, you can't. It's too dark down here, so I think they've actually lightened that up a little bit. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but yeah. A fine selection of tracks, no matter whichever version of this you will ever get. If you are getting it, like I say, I was not very sort of like convinced about getting this when I heard it was coming out. I was excited, don't get me wrong. I'm like everybody else. I don't mind listening to remixes of them if it adds something to them. What I've heard so far, okay, it's only been off my phone, I have liked. There is a lot of criticism over some of the songs which I'm not going to get into on this. So this is the bonus disc. So side 5 you get Now and Then, of course, #1 in the UK as I'm recording this anyway. Original composition by John Lennon, the Beatles version by John, Paul, George and Ringo. I know it's true, it's all because of you. I still think that is a fantastic opening line to a song. And the way they've done it on the single, because I think this is a slightly remixed version on there, isn't it, than to the single, to make it sound more like it's from the late 60s, early 70s. I think it's a very, very interesting track. The history of it is very interesting. How they've done it is fantastic. I can't praise this song enough, to be honest. And I was one of them that was a bit skeptical about them actually releasing that, because there had been some versions done on YouTube for the past decade, probably fan-made ones, which were really, really good. They've all been took down now though, but yeah, I think that it does deserve to be on a Beatles album. I think it deserves to be a Beatles single. It deserves to have the Beatles name. End of for that one. Then you've got Blackbird. Would I have put that on here? I don't know. Some people like it, some people hate it. I think it's an okay song. I don't particularly think it's a highlight of the White Album. Again, that is just my opinion. But I suppose they've tried to do it so that each member of the Beatles does get a certain amount of songs. Then you get Dear Prudence, which has got the clean intro to it, which apparently is the only ever place you will find this. Even on the original ones, it was mixed in with back in the USSR, wasn't it? I have heard this on streaming, and without the fade in from back in the USSR, it actually sounds a better song. If you can make something that's virtually perfect even better, I think they've done it with that. Again, that is just my opinion. You might think, well, no, they should have left it as it was, which, you know, we are all entitled to our opinions. Then you got Glass Onion, again off the White Album. Yeah, I do actually quite like that. And the Beatles did do a video for that, didn't they? A few years ago. So, yes, I think it does deserve to be on it. Others might think, well, why didn't you put Cry Baby Cry or Helter Skelter or something like that on it? You know, it's what it is. This is how it is now, so we can't moan about it. It's what it is. Then we've got Within You Without You. I'm not sure about that. I do like the song, so I'm not criticising it. I do like the song. I love the way he's used the Indian instrumentation. I always think it's sat a bit out of place on Sergeant Pepper, to be honest, and it seems even more out of place on here. I think they probably could have put the Inner Light on here instead of that one. Again, that is just my opinion, which doesn't really count for anything, does it? Lovely song though, it is a lovely song. It just seems a bit out of context with what's around it on that. But then again, sometimes think it seems out of context on Sergeant Pepper. I don't know. What's your thoughts on it? Or they could have done the one that he did on Magical Mystery Tour. Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. Blue Jay Way. I think that would have fitted better on there than that one. Again, that is only my opinion. It's still a George Harrison song. It's a fantastic song. It is one of those where every time you listen to that, you'll actually hear something different. So I don't know what it's going to sound like. That's been remixed. Every time I hear it, I think, oh, well, I didn't know there was a cowbell there. I didn't know there was a bit of a sitar there or whatever. So side 6, we've got Hey Bulldog. Hey Bulldog is one of my all-time favourite Beatles songs. I think in certain countries in 1969 that was actually released as a single with All Together Now. All Together Now was the A side and Hey Bulldog was the B side. It probably was strong enough to be a Beatles B side, to be honest. Highlight of the original Yellow Submarine LP. They have remixed that one before. They went on the 1999 Yellow Submarine song track. So yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to that. I hope that spoiled it, because like I say, that is one of my all-time favourite Beatles songs, in my top 10 anyway. Then you've got Oh Darling off Abbey Road. Bit of a strange one in one way to put on. Lovely song though. It is a lovely song, and it probably is one of the highlights of Abbey Road, because you've already got Here Comes the Sun, Something, and Come Together, haven't you? And Octopus's Garden. So yeah, Hey Bulldog, Oh Darling, yeah, that works. Then you got I Me Mine. So for all of you who think that Now and Then isn't a real Beatles song, just think I Me Mine was officially the last ever Beatles recording for EMI at the time, and it only featured George, Paul and Ringo. John wasn't on it. So all these theories about is a Beatles song, blood. So yeah, Yesterday was only Paul one. So I've always liked that song, and I do think it is a very, very, very underrated George Harrison song. I don't think he gets the credit sometimes as a songwriter, although I've just said I don't like Within You Without You. But it's not I don't like it, I don't think it's the best song of his that they could have put on this album. I'll probably get crucified for that now. And then it finishes off with I Want You, She's So Heavy. Now when I actually heard that was going to be like the closing track for this, I thought, why have they put that on it? But then thinking about it, well, in one way, wasn't that the sort of song that ended the career? Think about it, that was the last song on the last Beatles album officially, wasn't it? Although Let It Be was released after it. And if you're going with the Now and Then theme, I can sort of like understand it. So yeah, I think there is some strange choices for the additional tracks, but thinking about it, they do all make sense, because it shows the versatility and musicianship of all the Beatles, doesn't it? Would you have agreed with the track listing? I don't know. Until I play this all the way through, I can't really pass judgment. This is just my first thoughts on first looking at it. So far, what I've seen, I'm very happy with. And I must admit, this is a very, very sturdy box. Very, very sturdy. Although it wasn't cheap, was it? I think that is the other thing, it wasn't cheap. I mean, I paid it was £139, and then I paid £3.95 for the shipping. So that makes it what, £143.94p. Now that actually sounds quite a lot of money, doesn't it? Bearing in mind, when I bought those to up there, the remastered albums, I think I paid something like £20 each for them. But then you're getting 6 albums, not 4, aren't you? So that would be, say, 40 for those. So is it worth the extra £100? And the answer to that is I don't know till I listen to them. But then, having said that, you know, how much is a single LP? If you go into HMV or Walmart or wherever you buy your records from when they're brand new, how much is a single LP? The average is about £30–35, isn't it? So if you look at it that way, then that is cheap. That is actually quite cheap. I had to buy this on my credit card, to be honest, which I don't really like doing. No, Sue knows about it, I think. I haven't done anything sneaky. Like I say, I was in two minds whether to buy it or not. What I've seen so far of the packaging, the construction of the boxes, the construction of the covers, the inner sleeves, the vinyl's lovely. The vinyl is absolutely lovely, and I do mean that. The vinyl is lovely. I would say, yes, it is expensive, but if you work it out per album, it probably isn't. And I know there's a lot of people struggling out there, and this isn't like, look at me, I can afford to buy this because I've had to buy it on my credit card. But I would say, yes, it probably is worth. Yeah, it is. It's worth it, isn't it? If you're gonna buy it, you're gonna buy it, aren't you? And if you're not gonna buy it, you're not gonna buy it. So yes, I would say it is up to now. Bear in mind, I haven't played these. I'd say it is worth it. It is worth the money for what you get. It's just a shame they didn't put a little booklet in it or something like that. Instead of having little pamphlets, just make a little paperback book or something, like fancy thing or something, which would have been nice. What I've seen so far, I've got no problem with. I do think a few of the bonus tracks are a little bit questionable in one way, but then if it's a greatest hits and they've made this as an international greatest hits, like I say, some of those songs were actually singles in other countries, weren't they? Did they really need to do it? Probably not. I can understand them doing a remix version of the Red and Blue albums, and like I say, I've got no problem with what I've heard so far of the remix things. The only thing that gets me is if it's 62 to 66 and 67 to 70, why is Now and Then on it? That is the only thing. I can understand why they've done it, to promote the single, and the single promotes the album, and vice versa. Why didn't they just do a Beatles Greatest Hits? Why didn't they just call that the Beatles Greatest Hits? Forget the Red and the Blue, just do it all as a Greatest Hits package. And then would people have says, oh well, it's just a rehash of the Red and Blue. I don't think Apple could have won on this one, to be honest. Like I've said, I've always loved the original ones. I love the original ones more than the remastered ones, which are up there. I am looking forward to just listening to these, just for different mixes. If you like them, you like them. From what I've heard, there is a unique version of I Am the Walrus on there. For all of you that want your you know, your remixes, you've got it. The thing about the Beatles legacy is I'm a second generation Beatles fan. I didn't get into the Beatles till 1980, or maybe even 1981, thinking about it. I did know of the Beatles before that, but I only knew them for like Yellow Submarine and Hey Jude and John singing Imagine. That was it. Wasn't I was ignorant or anything. I was very, very young. Bear in mind, I wasn't born until 1966, so although I was around when the Beatles were around, if that makes sense, I wasn't really ever around to enjoy them, which has been the nice thing about this. It's with the single and the release of these, it has been in the UK like Beatlemania all over again. I can only imagine what it was like. And then 1965, when you was a kid, and you know you was waiting for the next Beatles single and next Beatles album for Christmas, because they nearly always did an album and a single for Christmas, didn't they? 1965 in the UK, it was Rubber Soul and We Can Work It Out single, wasn't it? So, you know, I can imagine that now, because I've sort of gone through it. With the anthologies, it wasn't quite as much build up or quite as much excitement around the release. Whether that was more because it was for something that was made for TV, you know, it's for obviously anthology was on TV first. The records came out around the same time. You got Free as a Bird off Anthology 1, didn't you? And Real Love off Anthology 2. And Now and Then should have been on Anthology 3, but it wasn't. But because that was all sort of like demos and things like that on it, I don't think there was much anticipation as there was for the single Now and Then and for this. So well done, Apple. That's all I'm going to say. Well done, Apple. With this, I think some people's going to love it and some people are going to absolutely hate it, in all honesty. Like I say, I'm a second generation Beatles fan. The Red and Blue albums will, to me, will always be the original 1973 versions, although this is a nice addition to have. And I love the way, you probably can't see it on here, how that, the Beatles, is actually written in silver. Can you see it on there? It is actually in silver. The box construction of the box is really, really nice. The presentation on all, I'd give it 10 out of 10. The remixes that I have listened to so far on my streaming devices, I have actually been pleasantly surprised, which I didn't think I would be, to be honest, but yeah, I have been pleasantly surprised. It is what it is. Some people might say it's a cash grab, or, you know, EMI. Well, it's not EMI anymore, is it? Apple trying to make money up to Christmas market. They're a business. At the end of the day, they're a business. Unfortunately, whatever Apple would have done this year, I think somebody would have moaned about it, because even if they would have done the Rubber Soul box set, then people would have said, well, it's the wrong year to be doing it. So, I don't know. I think they've done wonders with this. I really do. I think, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with this. I knew I'd like it. I did know I'd like it, but I'm surprised how much I do like it. It may have the odd thing that I don't like, which we'll get into if I do a review. The only thing is, because this is like a week after I should have done it, there's been that many people on YouTube giving you their thoughts on this album. I've tried to do it looking at it with a new set of eyes, if that makes sense. Yes, I have seen a few videos which haven't really affected what I would say on this at all. I think it's cracking. I really do think it's cracking. If you can't afford to buy the box set, by the way, because not everybody's got £140. I think the coloured vinyl versions are even more now. If you are going to buy it, what I will say is either go to thebeatles.com or the Beatles store or whatever, right? If they've sold out, go to HMV. Do not, and this is just my advice, do not go and buy something off eBay where somebody's paid £140 for that, and I've seen it where they want £250 for that's for this version, the black vinyl version, when you can still go and buy it for £140. The coloured vinyl ones, there is certain sellers on a certain selling site, eBay, who would want best part of £500 for them there. It's wrong. It is wrong. And the daft thing is, there's people out there that will buy it. They will buy it because they haven't got the time, or they might not have the ability to look on, you know, the internet and go onto the Beatles.com, which is what I did. Yes, okay, they messed my order up, but I did get a nice sort of like apology, and they're here now, which is all that matters. Yeah, so thumbs up to it. So far, thumbs up to it. I'm not a grumpy old bloke. I might come across, when I've said about some of the songs on there, I'm just giving you my opinion as a Beatles fan. And that's all it is. It's just my opinions. Overall, I think they've done a really, really good job. If you want me to do a review of it, I will do a review of it, but it will take me a few days to listen to it, because I'm not just going to listen to it once. I'm going to listen to it a few times all the way through, and I will listen to it on my setup downstairs, which at the minute is the Denon record deck, going through a Technics amp and going through, is it Mavat speakers, I think it is, which sounds really, really nice. And then the reason I do it downstairs is because I can sit and relax and listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it through headphones or anything like that. I will listen to it as it's meant to be listened to, on a record deck, you know, as nature intended it. So that's going to be it. If you want me to do a review, leave me some comments. If you've got this, if you've already got this box set, which I know a lot of you have, I'm sorry if I've bored you, but you know, you tell me what do you think about it? Do you think it's value for money? Do you agree with the song selection? I'm not on about the original 4 LPs, because they will always be the Red and the Blue album no matter what. The extra 2 discs, do you agree with the song selection on that? I do to a certain extent so far, but I haven't listened to them. Could they have done it any better? Could they have done it any worse? You know, I know there is one criticism, and I must say this just before I go, is if you buy the CD, that all goes in chronological order. So your extra, you know, your extra songs are where they would have been. But then, see, there's two thoughts on that, isn't there? Because if you're messing about with the original album, then is that still the Red album? Where this, you get your Red and your Blue album, and then you get the extra things as an extra disc, like you do in the box sets. Which at first I was sceptical of, but actually I do think it probably was now the best way to do it. Do you agree with that? You know, if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. You know, I'm not forcing anybody to, you know, say, you know, to think whatever I'm saying is gospel. It's just my opinions, which is an old Beatles fart, you know, who's been collecting Beatles records for over 40 years now. I do, like I say, I do think Apple and the estate of John Lennon, the estate of George Harrison, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Universal Music, I think they've got it right on this one. I could be proved wrong, and it could be the biggest flop the Beatles have ever done. Don't think it will, though, will it? I don't think it will. There was, you know, it's like the single sold out in the record shops, didn't it, within days? And I think the single is still #1 as we speak. I think. Fingers crossed. The only thing with the single and this in one way is, I think if they'd have waited a couple of weeks to release it, i.e. the end of November instead of the end of October, then the single might have been #1 for Christmas, and these might have been #1 in the album charts for Christmas. Does that really make any difference? No, because I think if Apple would have done that, then everybody would just say, oh, they're after the money, they're after the Christmas market. So, you know, I don't think Apple could have won whatever they did with this. But I'm very happy with it. And like I say, I will spend the next few days listening to it. Not just once, I will listen to it a few times so that I can give you an honest review if you want one. So let me know in the comments what you think of this box set, or if you bought the albums individually, like you've gone out and bought the red album, then you've gone out and bought the blue album. Tell me what you think about the sound quality, what you think about what you've paid for it, whether you think it was worth the money or not, whether you like the song selections on it or not. You know, let's have a bit of a discussion. I do look forward to reading your comments. And that's going to be about it. Whatever you do though, you know, just remember it is the Beatles, the best band in the world. You know, 2023 and they're still up there in the charts, aren't they? You know, who would have thought that? 2023, people like me and other Beatles fans would be talking about the Beatles' new releases and, you know, remixed albums and them being #1 in the charts. It's amazing. It really is amazing. I'm just so glad I've lived through this. I really am. With all the crap that's going on in the world, not mentioning anything, but we all know what's going on in the world. And even in this country, we've got a cost of living sort of like crisis. You know, it's just nice to have something to be happy about and to look forward to, which we've all looked forward to it, and the, you know, the anticipation of them being released, and now we can all be happy that they're here. And while we're listening to it, all the rest of the crap in the world just goes out the window for a bit, doesn't it? It's still there, don't get me wrong, it doesn't get rid of it, but the Beatles have spread their magic once again, haven't they? And, you know, given us all something to listen to take our minds off things. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, by the way, just think about subscribing. It's free. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, you're all amazing. I do think you are all wonderful, wonderful people, and I do appreciate so much that you participate in my channel. You are the Beatle Dave. Without you lot out there, I wouldn't be able to do these videos. Well, I would, but nobody'd watch them, would they? So please do me a favour, if you like the video, just leave me a thumbs up whether you subscribed or not, because that does help me with YouTube to promote my videos a little bit more. And if you want to leave a comment, obviously leave a comment, so please like, subscribe and leave a comment. That's going to be it. I hope you're well and dandy. I've got a few days off work, so like I say, we are going to be doing that, but I've got to go and do some Christmas shopping at some point as well. Christmas time is here again. Ain't been round since you know when. So, peace, love and happiness to you all. And I absolutely think this is spot on. I really do. You might disagree. But I think it's... If you're a Beatles fan like me, this is worth having in your collection if you can afford to buy it. But the CDs are a lot cheaper than the vinyl as well. So if you wanted it that way, you can. But I think you always miss a little bit listening to it on a CD. That's just my opinion. Says the bloke who just bought a CD box set, which is for another video. Okay, that's going to be it, folks. Peace, love and happiness to you all. Whatever you're doing, please stay safe. If you're out record collecting or record digging or record shopping over the weekend, I hope you find some gems. I love you all, and that's going to be it. So until the next time, it's ta-ra for now, my ducks.